Lot to unpack there, Renita, Amakongo, and Julian. Renita, Amakongo, I'm going to start with you. First of all, the Foss case is just unbelievable to me, that you could have those text messages and emails after they slept together and they would still pursue rape charges when you see the context of that. Just your thoughts just on what is going on here and what you heard the attorney there, the attorney for Foss, but also the attorney for Jonathan Majors say that we have to reconsider this notion of believe women because there are men, black men, who are being negatively impacted. In this case, Adam Foss was found not guilty.
It's frustrating, because are we going to put respect or trust in the court system, or are we not? Are we going to have innocent until proven guilty, or are we not? And when you talk about the timeline between 2017 and 2021, when the allegations came and the like, and you're talking about the height of the Me Too movement as well, the challenge was there were so many credible allegations that came up that people were inspired to share, real things that were eventually prosecuted and found out to be true. And, many survivors felt like they could even be, uplifted to tell their story. And
so the thing is, when you hear the attorney talk about, again, an accusation, and essentially accusations today are treated as you're guilty until proven innocent, as opposed to innocent until proven guilty. Then you have some cases where they don't pursue a civil trial. Excuse me, they don't pursue criminal proceedings. They only go after a civil trial. It's sort of like, I think about what happened with former Virginia Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax, and to this day, I remember covering the story and I see the accusations. You had a black DA in Boston and a black DA in, I think it was Raleigh. A black female DA in Boston, a black female DA in Raleigh. Both of them said if one of these accusers files a complaint, we're going to investigate. No complaint was ever filed. But they did say they would participate in an impeachment inquiry into Fairfax. And I just thought that was strange that you would have two black female DAs who were like, absolutely, we will investigate. No complaint was ever filed. And so, go ahead.
I have a different take on this. To me, the attorney came on here to run a PR campaign, and if I were her, clients, I would be upset with the job that she is doing, because this is really a PR campaign to divide black folks. What she's doing is setting up a scenario when you pit. Obviously, we know the history of what has happened to black people.
First of all, she was specifically talking about the Adam Foss case, who was an African American man who was accused of rape by a white woman. The thing that, again, what I heard her say is that, are you innocent until proven guilty? What her biggest criticism is that, as she described, there was no real investigation. You said allegation, investigation. I just gave an example in the case of Justin Fairfax, where there were allegations. Two black female prosecutors said, if a criminal complaint is filed, we will investigate. Yet the two black women who made the allegation against him never filed the complaint. So therefore, there was never an investigation.
Right. But here's where I'm trying to round the corner for you, which is that before that movement, you would have a complaint. And if it came from a black woman in particular,
I'm aware.
It's likely statistically for that to be followed up on. It was never investigated.
No, I'm aware of that. So first of all, I don't need to be. So, but I'm stating what she was speaking of.
Right, I know, but what I'm telling you is she has a blind spot.
The thing for me that I still go back to, which I do believe is important, is that if an allegation is made, that you actually have an investigation. I'm still confused by the Foss case, that you could have text message and emails of someone pursuing this guy, but accused him of rape, but you have that you have text messages and emails that completely contradict that. I just don't think somebody's going to be raped and then going to be pursuing that guy after the fact. And so it's interesting to me that this here still went all the way to a trial.
If you look at the history of lynching, people didn't have any due process.
Oh, hell no! That was a rumor, and it was indicted, trial, jury, sentencing, all done in 30 minutes.
There were even a couple of cases I found where, because somebody was accused of a crime and they were able to flee, in one case the man's sister was lynched because they couldn't get him, so they got her. Got it. When we talk about this intersection between race and gender, I mean, I don't completely agree with Renita, partially, but not completely, because I don't think that lady you had on necessarily left out Black women. Black women weren't in this. What I think she was doing was, as you said, she's a defense attorney. She was basically defending her client. But whenever Black women, I have a tendency not to believe white women. Why? Because of the history. I have a tendency to believe Black men because of the history. I have a tendency not to believe white men because of history. I am seeped in the history, and that's where my implicit bias is we know how the system treats Black people. But as I've gotten older, I would say I have more mixed feelings. I mean, 20 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, believe the woman. Now I'm like, we have to pay more attention to the nuances. The Justin Fairfax case, that was such a tragedy. That young brother had so much promise and potential. And these two sisters, one of them who, never mind, not the professor, the other one, there was a lot of evidence that she was kind of a little cray-cray. The sister who was a professor in California, less so. But there was countervailing something, but it wasn't evidence because nobody ever went to court. But the brother ended up, he was a shoo-in to be governor when whoever the guy was, the one with the blackface, I forgot his name. Right.
He was going to likely step down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then this comes up, and so one wonders about that.
That's probably the biggest thing that probably still, and I was actually saying this even when that happened, that what confused me immensely during that whole deal with Justin Fairfax was two Black female DAs saying, we will absolutely investigate if a complaint is filed. No complaint was ever filed. Yet, both women said they would participate in an impeachment inquiry that the Republicans wanted to have against Fairfax. And I said, I'm confused. If you're seeking justice, why would you not file a criminal complaint? But you would participate in an impeachment inquiry. That was my. And again, that wasn't me. Let me be very clear. Justin Fairfax is an alpha. He's in the same Boulay chapter. I wasn't taking the side. I was just confused by that, because I would think that if you're a Black woman and then you go public, that you absolutely will want a Black female prosecutor, someone to investigate your case. I to this day, I still don't understand why a criminal complaint, was never filed by either woman with a Black female DA in both locations.
Roland, more than likely there was not criminal activity.
Hold on, one second. Can't have both at the same time. Julian, then Renita.
Okay. Yeah. More than likely there was no criminal activity. One of the things that one of my insiders in Virginia said to me is that look at what the difference will be between Justin as governor and that guy who's governor now.
It was Ralph Northam, who was the then governor, and then, of course, when the election came around, Terry McAuliffe ran on the Democratic side, and then, of course, Youngkin won as a Republican.
But here's the issue, Roland. When you look at some of the things that were pending, there was a pipeline issue. There was a pipeline issue that Justin did not support and Northam supported.
Got it.
And one wonders what the oil and gas money was doing behind the scenes. That's all.
Renita, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to make clear a few things. My comments are not in reference specifically about Justin Fairfax, Majors, or Foss. I'm saying take all those cases aside and the specifics of it. What I'm saying, number one, to what you just said, Roland, about why people wouldn't file criminal complaints, more and more, survivors of sexual assault are saying they don't file complaints because all that happens is the police drag you in, go through your whole sexual history. Next thing you know, you're in court, and it's really just embarrassing and re-traumatizing for you. So a lot of people don't file criminal complaints.
But Renita, I wasn't speaking in general. Here's what I was still confused by. How could someone say, I'm not going to file a criminal complaint, but I'll participate in an impeachment inquiry? That's what.
Because, well, that's why I just explained to you is that a lot of times these cases can take, a lot of times these cases can take years to go to court. And so you're rehashing the trauma over and over. So what I'm saying is. But
that's what would have happened.
They're not going to file a
one second.
complaint.
That's what would have happened in an impeachment inquiry. And guess what? And guess what? There never was an impeachment inquiry. There never was.
Right.
One second, hold up. I'm gonna finish this point. Again, if I go public and I'm seeking justice, again, I don't file a criminal complaint with 2 black female DAs, but I do say I participate in an impeachment inquiry. Am I not rehashing what I say took place? And
one is a much shorter time frame, and maybe I don't know a lot.
One never happened.
What I'm saying is impeachment inquiry.
Hold up, Julian.
Impeachment inquiry is probably a shorter timeline.
It didn't happen.
What happens it didn't happen, but what I'm saying is when those do happen, they usually happen in the Senate, and they usually are a much more defined time frame. So what I'm saying is that victims have a lot of different reasons why they will or will not report to police. But the comment I really want to make to
Hold up. I want to finish that before you go to your comment. So if the impeachment inquiry never happened, granted, you never filed a criminal complaint. So
you're not going to, because that's a big, long process to go through the courts. I'm telling you, a lot of people are making that decision nowadays. And we saw bills in the Georgia General Assembly having to do with sexual assault that when they required people to file a complaint, a lot of people, including myself, had pushback for that because the process has not been worked out for how to deal with people who have had something happen to them.
Right here in New York in the Adam Foss case, the woman filed a complaint. First of all, she wrote a piece in November 2020, but it was finished 3 years later. November 2023 with an actual trial. The complaints against Justin Fairfax took place more than 5 years ago, and nothing has been. Again, I understand about the whole deal about what takes time. What is still the number one thing for me that makes no sense is I don't want to file a criminal complaint with 2 black female DAs, but I will participate in an impeachment inquiry that never happened. So B never happened, and so I never did A. So if I wanted justice, nothing ever happened. It's just sitting. The allegation is just sitting out there in the wind, and there was actually no resolving of it, other than the complaint was alleged. But go ahead.
But let me finish one final comment. But what I'm telling you, Roland, is that people now are thinking twice about filing criminal complaints, and it's different from victim to victim. That's all I'm saying, or person to person.
Okay, but guess what? A criminal complaint. Okay, guess what? A criminal complaint wasn't filed. They said to participate in the impeachment inquiry, and a civil lawsuit was never filed.
Come on.
Right. And like I said, people are rethinking how they want to go about these things when they say that they have been assaulted. And
in the case of Justin Fairfax, the only thing that one wanted to achieve was solely making the allegation.
I don't know what point.
But that's why I'm not speaking broadly. I'm not speaking broadly. That's why when I look at case by case, when I look at this whole deal here, and the reason I had Priya on, when I read the Adam Foss case, what made no sense to me is, okay, you say you were raped. He says it was consensual. Then we find out that she literally was sending text messages and emails after the fact, okay? And so I'm sitting here going, how can a prosecutor pursue a guilty verdict against somebody when you literally have evidence of the woman making the accusation still trying to get with the brother? How was that actually rape? And so I still believe, because here's the deal. I do believe in innocent until proven guilty. I do believe in listening to some, look, I got 9 nieces. I believe in listening to a woman. I believe in hearing her out. I believe in believing her, but also there has to be investigations. I think, and the reason I'm bringing up Fairfax, that is a perfect example of it was an accusation. There was no investigation. There was no criminal complaint. There was no civil lawsuit. And the end result was accusation. He never runs. He ran, but got blown out. And now that is forever out there, and it didn't get resolved either way. It's just sitting out there, and that is still confusing to me. Right. So, and I would think if I got two black female prosecutors, and again I got 2.
Let me just make one comment, because we're saying the same thing.
No, actually we're not. But go ahead.
No, we are, because
again, when you have the intersection of race and gender, you're also going to have something that's very complicated. In the Justin case, I mean, I'm a little biased because I was a big Justin fan, but the matter of the fact, what Renita says, well, they don't want to be exposed. Well, these women exposed themselves. They came forward and said stuff that may or may not have been true. In one case, there's some evidence that simply was not true. But all the reprobation, all the whatever they got it anyway. They got it because they stepped out there. So if you're going to step out there, believe in yourself, believe in your case, and take it to damn court. Don't just throw allegations out for reporters to speculate about. Take it to court if you really believe that. Have a good lawyer and prove it. I mean, black women historically have not been believed, but increasingly we are being believed. And those sisters, if they thought they had credible cases, they could have taken them to court. They chose not to. And while we can speculate about why, my speculation is because some of that stuff just did not happen.
I'm a Congo.
We need to create an infrastructure where people cannot have their entire lives destroyed over allegations that are proven to be false, or when trials prove that there's innocence. I definitely stand with, we have to believe the accusers, and we have to have the proper investigations, like as Renita's talking about. But as you're saying, Roland, as well, when certain things don't add up, there should be, A and B, and then C should come after. When A and B and you get F or something like that, or 1 + 2 = 7, then people need to fall back, and we need to not take people's lives. We don't want the victims to have their lives stolen, and we don't want the people who are accused to become victims as well, abused. And it makes it harder for people to prove themselves innocent when we have an infrastructure, media, social media, that's ready to try them. And that's an infrastructure that we have to change.